So do you think parents who may not have the best relationship or marriage should stay together for the child? Because I know a lot of people say that they are opposed to that.
I love that. I always say I'm not divorcing my husband. I'm not. That's why I'm taking my time because I got to make sure he also won't divorce my ass. No, I want to make sure we in this together. I'm not leaving him. Does that mean that I'm going to put up with? I have meaning abuse or rape. Those are non-negotiables. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the normalcy relationship things, that disagreements. He's going through some midlife crisis. I'm going through menopause, and we just got some weird shit going on. I'm not leaving him. That joker just gonna have to figure out how to be with me and me with him. Even if it gets down to one of us can't even sexually participate anymore because of health conditions or who knows why. We got to sit down and talk about how do we make sure this relationship is still satisfied, and what does that look like per our agreement, not societal constructs. I'm not leaving him. Now, people who stay together for the sake of the kids, but they have a house that's totally impaired, that's a broken family, not a broken home. A broken home is just a single parent home. One person's in the home. Broken home. Broken family means everybody's here. Mom, dad, kids, or partners and kids. But there's so much impairment in that home that it can't function. So this is where I say a broken family can have and do more harm and cause more impairment on a child than a broken home. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But also, okay. So I gotta give you some pushback on this
Yeah.
because I feel like I've been through every aspect of a relationship, right? And sometimes you go into a relationship, you're a therapist, right? So you understand mental illness is a real thing. So sometimes you go into a relationship with good intentions and you don't fully understand what you're getting yourself into. People make mistakes. How old are you?
42.
So you're a 42-year-old woman with 5 degrees, a professional. You're speaking from an elevated standpoint. When you're 24 years old, 25 years old, 23 years old, even 30 years old, or even any age, right? But it's hard to have this level of understanding and to actually be able to analyze things. And you don't even know what mental illness, you don't know that somebody's bipolar. You don't know, like you're thinking that they just having a bad day, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't fully understand what you're getting yourself into. That's what I'm saying. Until you get yourself into it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, damn, this is a nightmare. I would always advocate to leave. I didn't think it's never a bad choice to leave a relationship, right? Even if you have a kid, because you only live once. So to tell somebody like you have to stay in a relationship, I think that that's harmful for their mental health, right? And ultimately for the family as well, because it's like if I'm in something just because I signed up for it, I might have made a mistake. It's like a business deal. I went out, made a mistake. I made a mistake. Mistakes happen, right?
To that you say, Queen.
So there's something you said that really stuck out to me. You said, pretty much if the relationship is, I only live once. I only live once. Let me say it again. I only live once. Okay, that's selfish as hell. Because if you're thinking about I only live once after you've given 1 or 2 or 3 lives that are in a house from the ages of, let's just say 1 to 15, 1 to 6, 1 to just their children or adolescents that don't have the insight to make decisions, but you made that decision for them to bring them into this I only live once life. You should have thought about that selfish decision prior to bringing a child in and then making them a product and projecting onto them your selfishness. Now, if you say to me, look, doc, we in this home, there's some mental illness to the point where there's abuse, even if it's not on the kids, but it's between you and your wife, right? The kids are seeing it. We've gone to therapy. We try to work this out. I wanted to stay for my children because I wanted them to be a family. I understand there's something bigger than me that I created. So I want to try to do this for them. I've even sat and had a conversation with her and said, listen, let's co-parent in this house together. Let's figure out how we can co-parent in here so we can have a family culture. And you and I, as 2 adults, figure out how we do what we need to do outside the house or in the house to make this machine move because it's a family dynamic. It ain't an I dynamic. Once you decide to have a family, I only live once goes out the window. It's called a family dynamic. How do we all win? How does the family win? Not how do I sabotage, flee this. First question you ask was self-sabotage. You have to be very self-dismantled to be okay with dismantling a family because you only live once. No. Now, again, if there's abuse in there, okay, and you came and said, look, it's too much impairment. Now we have a broken family and it's to a point where it's not fixable. You have damn right. As your coach, I'm gonna say, I will help y'all dissipate this relationship, this marriage, but not when you're just telling me there's some disagreements and I'm unhappy here because we're going through a season that doesn't feel good. Well, you're going to take your selfish tail to another relationship, and that relationship is going to experience a season that doesn't feel good. And because you're not emotionally intelligent enough or mature enough to sit through seasons in a relationship, all you're going to do is sabotage over and over again. That goes back to me saying, look at the person. They create who they are. So that man who says, I only live once, I'm out, he gonna go create that I only live once, I'm out again with the next woman.
Well, I was talking about abuse. So if somebody's being abusive, you can leave. Right? And abuse comes
in many forms.
I support anyone leaving. Like if my client came and said, I just want to leave just because I want to, I'm very client-centered, meaning I'm gonna help them get where they want to go. If they ask me my opinion, I would say, if there's no abuse, let's reshape or reinvent this marriage, right? Let's try to reprogram the marriage, because I'm all for family and marriage if that's what people want. But if they say, no, I want out of here, I want to go, I don't care, she looked at me wrong, then I'm gonna help them do what they want to do. Now, my personal advice and opinion, if it's abuse, absolutely, that's a green light for get the hell out of there, right? But I also will say this, if a couple came and said, look, because I have couples that come in, the woman is saying he's abusive, and I'm going, no, baby, y'all abusive.
To each other.
Yeah.
And just so we're clear, women can be abusive to men. Going through somebody's phone is abuse, right?
Going through someone's phone is abuse? No. You got to explain
how is that not abuse? It's an invasion of privacy.
Wait, if a man or a woman, hold on, that's why I said we got to clear it up. If a man or a woman goes through each other's phone, you're saying goes through, meaning like this.
Take your phone. You sleeping?
You told each other that you cannot. I'm not authorizing you to go on my phone.
Right.
Oh, okay, I'm with you. I got you. Yes.
That's abuse.
We both agreed we are not authorizing each other to go through each other's phone, then you have disrespected that person's boundary.
Well, no, but I think it's the other way around. I think you have to agree to go. Like, I don't have to have a conversation with Ian to say, yo, don't go through my phone.
Hack into your laptop.
Go through Ian's phone without. We don't have to have that conversation. That's an invasion of his privacy. That's disrespectful. That's abuse. We have to have a conversation of, hey, Ian, you can go through my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I can go through your phone.
I don't think I would call it as far as abuse. Do I think it's invasion of privacy? Do I think it's crossing a boundary? Yes. And I do agree with you that unless I'm telling you, you have the authority to go through my phone, then that means you do not have the authority to go through my phone, my purse, my bag, your car, whatever it is. Yes. That's where communication is vital. That's where we sit and say, listen, I'm into transparency, but transparency looks like this, or you can have access to my house, my laptop, but you can't have access to, let's just say, my phone or my Kindle. I'm just naming things at this point, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think those are things that people have the right to literally create and draw out what is subjectively a healthy, happy relationship for them. There's no one way to do it. Two people that come in and say, look, I'm transparent, go on my phone, go on your phone. We have each other's bank accounts. You can access credit cards. Then if that works and it causes a healthiness, they need to run those plays. But you got a lot of people who are getting into relationships saying, don't go through my phone, don't go through my phone, don't access this, don't access that. And then the main thing they're arguing about in my session that they're divorcing or they're breaking up about is what? The inability to access each other. So that means that you are not creating boundaries or rules of engagement that are working. Because if us not having access to each other's bank account or our cell phones is the reason why we're breaking up, then we've created rules of engagement that are working. It's a reverse Uno.
Mhm.
That makes no sense at all. But if I say, look, go through my phone, bank account, and we're open and we're having a healthy relationship, then that is just someone who built a foundation that works.